Is this the same opponent? I think this is the same opponent. Could have taken Magus with either. I guess, but like, I mean, the reality is that I wanted to take the Relic when I had the double Kroxa in hand. Magus of the Moon is a really bad card in the matchup. I know I lost to it there, but that doesn't change the fact that Magus is actually pretty bad against against Grixis Shadow, where I have lots of one-mana removal spells that kill it, and I could also get 2 shadows in play, which were potentially going to be a good leverage, and I end up like stumbling a little bit and losing to Magus, and it's okay. It's okay, right? Yeah, and also like I had the Ragavan in my hand, and like I saw that they I saw that they needed to top deck a answer to the Ragavan to answer it, and then the Ragavan was also going to be good against the Magus. And my opponent top decked Burn Spell for Ragavan, then they top decked Iteration into Iteration, and I stumbled. Like, this is just an L you have to take, you know? This is just an L you have to take. But I drew Mishra's Bauble. They can play a 5/5 Murktide this turn. Is 6 removal spells a lot? Depends. In your hand, yes. In your deck, no. Okay, huge mistake to not sack the island there and use that for the delve. Don't have Delirium. If I go Swamp, Thoughtseize, I go down to 6, and I could technically take this hit, but I'm dead to a lot of things. But next turn I can go Shredder, Heat, kill this. Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's a big difference between being a 1 and being a 3 either. There's a 1 mystery card, Bolt. Let's consider. So I think we may have been dead if I hadn't done this. I have to take Bolt to a land. Yeah, I mean, yeah, this is how it goes. I think this is like a super actually indicative of like how the Shadow versus Murktide matchup goes, especially game 1. Like, and how like a lot of matchups go against discard decks, where if they just top deck perfects, it's just so hard to win. And I really feel like top decks are just so key in this matchup. You know, not only because of discard spells, because of how like quickly resources trade. I mean, just kind of hoping to draw a red removal spell in order to play the game seems rough. I don't really feel too bad about it in a deck with 6 red removal spells, and it's also not that. It's not just hope to top deck a red removal spell for Magus. If they don't top deck a removal spell for Ragavan, their Magus is bad. I also get to play 2 shadows, which are potentially going to be able to put myself in a top deck war where they have Magus and I have 2 shadows. We're staring at each other, and I can draw a red removal spell to unlock it. And then they drew 2 iterations. I drew nothing. But we can please just move on. We could just please move on. Like, I hate when we like get stuck on like one line and one point where it's obvious like some people agree and disagree, and like we just say the same things over and over and over again. Maybe we should have played the Mire. I think I see the Spell Pierce for removal spell. It's kind of close. Have the bolts for that. I think I'm graveyarding this for Delirium, despite it not being a bad card to play. If I could find Delirium here, it'd be really nice. Although, I think it's really big ask to like want to put back a Terminate in this matchup. Upkeep, Bolt definitely didn't play on Spell Pierce all that well. Okay, just concede. Okay, well, fast game 2, huh? Thoughtseize interviews 14 months, appreciate you. And Ed, 24, thank you. Okay, I like this hand a lot, if we could keep. Feels like Pierce over the Discord spells. I like to have like a couple of Thoughtseize in this matchup. But you could be right. You could be right. Alright. Makes the turn 1 decision pretty easy. Just jam a Ragavan off of Steam Vents. Why no Murktide? Kind of a complicated question, but there are lots of viable ways to build this archetype. One, if you look, we're not playing any 1-mana cantrips. Oh, no, it's not the deck. But we're not playing any 1-mana cantrips. So Murktide's a lot worse in deck without those 1-mana cantrips. Murktide also being double blue actually ends up stretching your mana a lot, where we have all red and black 1-drops. So you only want red and black mana on turn 1, so you get Blood Crypt on turn 1 a lot of the time. I think all of your blue cards are 2-drops, and like a lot of them don't even want to be cast till turn 3. And so playing a double blue spell, actually it is like a really big detriment to your mana in my experience. And also, I kind of believe that like Shredder, DRC, Ragavan, Shadow, and Kroxa are maybe all better threats because of those other factors. So it's also not necessarily the case that you're looking for other threats in the deck, you know. I guess Blood Moon is much better against us than Magus of the Moon. We'll just Spell Pierce it though. Love to hit something nice off the Ragavan, especially because my hand is like all burn spells against a draw where my opponent had no creatures, and drown against a Relic of Progenitus. Can't use that very well though. Best back. Okay, love to see my opponent playing 2 creatures here. And it's also like pretty nice for me like that they're pretty incentivized to counterspell my second lightning bolt so they can block the Ragavan. Maybe not the first one, but probably the second. And then that taps them out of relic activation so I can drown. Not that, so they only have 1 card. It does seem like that last card is not counterspell. I'm just gonna attack here. But I'm pausing like they have something, but really all they can have is like Dress Down or Brazen Borrower. And this is not a bad matchup for Murktide, so they don't have Brazen Borrower. You only have Borrower in your bad matchups. I wonder if there's a card I could see on top that would make me not cast the Thoughtseize. It's definitely not Otawara. Yeah, basically that would make sense, I guess. Nobody. Yeah, this is one thing I really don't like about Relic in this matchup is, again, like I mentioned earlier, this matchup like is very, very often all about the top decks. The only things that matter are the top decks, right? In a lot of games, and you like basically can never crack Relic because you're always like in a position, or it's very, very common, maybe I should say, for you to be in the position where you're just hoping to top deck a Murktide Regent or like iteration into Murktide Regent, and if you pop your Relic, then you can't have those top decks. And here, like I'm putting my opponent on the back foot here, where I've got a Ragavan in play. They just have an Otawara. They would ideally like to draw a card and like get back into it, but they just can't because then like that turns off their Murktide top deck. And here they actually do top deck the Murktide. Yeah, I think this game is like a pretty good argument for hers. I think I'm supposed to heat here. Forces them to pop the Relic. Yeah. I also do think that hers is better than Relic, but this is just kind of like a larger analysis of the decision between the 2 cards, I think. Isn't dashing every turn almost always better at this stage in the game? No, it is absolutely not the case. In a matchup where your opponent has counter spells, like in counter Ragavan, has all their removal spells are instant speed, so you're not dodging any sorcery speed removal. I've already attacked that turn, so I can't dash and hit my opponent with the Ragavan that turn. So like I don't get the immediate activation there, and dashing costs 2 mana every turn of the game instead of just playing it for 1 mana now and never having to spend mana on it again. So I can cast Jegantha, I can iteration into things. My opponent exiles Ragavan. They attack for 5, just trying to end it next turn, looks like. Yeah, if it was pre-combat, I would have dashed. I didn't realize that's what you missed. Okay. So I want to attack first. Do I attack with Jegantha? Because I might want to tap this for mana, actually. It's kind of greedy. Maybe greedy is maybe not the right word, but if I hit any spell off the Ragavan or off the Shredder that I want to play, then like I'm gonna be happy I did this. There we go. Not very often that you tap Jegantha for mana in the Shadow deck, but here we are. Super rewarded. Known Murktide Chump Blocker, Ledger Shredder. We obviously was good drown that. They had no cards in their yard. Yeah, I like hers a lot more than the Murktide sideboard too. This is a big problem I have as a streamer where I'll like go on like long analysis about something and I just like won't connect what should be like a pretty obvious dot to connect. It's like always something I've done. Alright, known Murktide Trader, Jegantha. I think I played this because I've got a good chance of getting Delirium if I get to like drown a Dress Down in combat or something. Happy birthday, BR. Happy birthday. Everybody in chat give BR a nice happy birthday. Mesa Fountain. Come to Brazil. For blue, white, affinity. Oh, the hammer time, obviously. I think let's Thoughtseize on turn 1. I've seen the Song Christian Storm deck in 5-0 list. I've seen them in the past. I've never been a huge fan, to be honest. I guess I'm taking Colossus Hammer. Joel's definitely on the back foot against this hand. It's playing Offer You Can't Refuse. I don't know that that's the card that breaks it. I don't know. Like there's like a lot of times something like this will happen. Like, you know, Song of Creation will 5-0 and people get excited, but you know, it is a very reasonable strategy to play an unknown deck, an unknown quantity, a wacky brew, if you will. Dude, they got Cauldra, not Hammer. Did we get Thoughtseize bugged? And now we can't. Dude, we can't Inquisition Cauldra. We could have Inquisitioned Hammer. I can't believe it. It feels so unlucky. They might still have Hammer as the one unknown card, though. But yeah, like, people don't know how to play against Song of Creation, so like you actually gain like a pretty real amount of percentage points. You actually gain a really real, I think, amount of percentage points like playing something that your opponents have no idea what to do against. The Hammer here is so much better than Cauldra because of the Sigardizade, Inkmoth, and Paladin. Like, all of these factors make the Hammer, I think, much better than Stoneforge Mystic, especially because Stoneforge Mystic is very fragile to removal. And then, like, the only thing that could possibly happen, I think, to make the Hammer worse than Cauldra happened with me top decking exactly Inquisition of Kozilek. It's because Magic's kind of funny, huh? Think I put this on the Midnight? I don't think I could really race this Cauldron. Yeah, they saw the heart of the cards. They examined every possible outcome, how they could win this match, and this was the only one. Right, they're just going to leave it on the Germ token. Just attacking for 5, down to 9. We are pretty dead. I will play it out, I guess, but I have really no idea how we could effectively race our opponent, especially like with us not really even being able to get Delirium here. That was good game 2. A lot of sideboard cards for this matchup, thankfully. They've been playing more Forge Tenders lately, so I think I'm supposed to go down on Ragavan, cut the Kroxas, down to like 4 discard spells. I think Shredder's kind of your best threat in the matchup. 3 discard spells, 0 Ragavan. The more I think about it, the more I like getting Cauldron. It forces you to main phase removal on Stoneforge Mystic. But if I main phase removal on Stoneforge Mystic, they have nothing going on for them, right? They have nothing going on for them if I kill the Stoneforge. But if they have a hammer in their hand, they have hammer that goes well with their Paladin, their Sigarda's Aid, and their Inkmoth Nexus. And so if they go Paladin Hammer, try to put it on the Midnight, they either get to draw a card and equip the hammer again with the Paladin, or they just get to put the hammer on the Midnight with the Nexus. And I think that, you know, 2 removal spells or 1 removal spell is like way more likely than 1 Inquisition of Kozilek and nothing else. Making your turn clunky, allowing hammer up top to be really good. I mean, why is hammer off the top really good compared to just hammer in the hand for sure? The hammer gets blown out by removal. Not really. If they go paladin hammer, if I have a removal spell, I can kill the Paladin and they get a hammer on the Midnight. But if I kill the Midnight, they just have a Paladin in play. They get to draw a card and have Metalcraft, or you know, a couple away from Metalcraft. Yeah, I completely disagree. In fact, a removal spell on the Stoneforge Mystic is more of a blowout there than a removal spell against the hammer. And it's not even really close, I think. Yeah, I think Cauldron only makes sense if they have the Time Stone and they see that the top card of my library is Inquisition of Kozilek. And then it makes a lot of sense. Paladin wasn't castable. Yeah, they had a white land in their hand. I'm just holding up 2 mana here. Don't chat much, but I think I Thoughtseize the wrong thing. Well, when I cast the Thoughtseize, I took the hammer. If I didn't take the hammer, they are hitting me for 10 that turn, and I didn't have a shadow in my hand. So I guess I would be willing to hear what you think I should have Thoughtseized instead, but I do feel pretty good about the choice in that turn too, right? Like, obviously I could be missing something, I could be wrong, but I think I just got time stoned, you know? For Big Fin, if I have to choose between this version and Dimir, which would I go with? I have more reps with this, and I do think that both are good. I have more reps with this one at the moment, though, so probably this. I need to get more testing with the Dimir version. Oh. Balanced Explosive is pretty good, with me milling over a land here. Don't think that I'm supposed to bolt the Teferi or anything here. I may be supposed to. I think I might be supposed to attack. I have to graveyard this actually. I think I have to suicide a Channeler to kill a Teferi so that I can bolt the Nexus. Not die to Hammer. Do you think that the Dimir version needs more threat density? No. They didn't block! They didn't block! No blocks, baby. No, the thing about the Dimir version is like, you could do something. You could cut Street Race and Tainted Indulgence and play Bauble Shredder. That might be correct. But Death Shadow and Murktide are both such powerful and resilient threats and hard-hitting threats that I don't think that you need more than just the two of them to close out games. That was simply a very confident attack. My attack was simply too confident to be blocked. We are dead to your protection spell, second hammer, or I guess that's it. Okay, they're putting this on the Sanctifier Invect despite activating the Nexus. I think they realized that this is just lethal. Right. I feel like I played that. Oh, I was counting Pierce as a protection spell, right? I feel like I played that match as well as I could, and sometimes you take an Elegance Hammer. Dingo with the big raid. Thanks, Dingo. I bought my baubles from GoatBots. I don't know where the Ragavans come from. Thank you, Dingo. You too. Or a good day. I'm the only other person playing Modern, the last Modern streamer. Taken for yeah. I like talking about lines too. I don't like talking them to death, but I do like to talk about them. Okay, the classic Burn versus Shadow matchup. Shredder on top. Hate to lose the die roll against Burn. Second Goblin Guide. Okay, but they leave a creature back to block Ragavan. They say, no, I have no fear. And I reveal a Channeler and a Bloodstained Mire, taking 5. Definitely respect the zero fear approach. Would love to hit a Lightning Helix, Searing Blaze, Lightning Bolt. Saw this mana cost that got really excited for a second. Why don't we get basic Mountain? And then play Shredder Channeler. It's either that or Channeler Drown. I think that like blocking the Goblin Guide and keeping this in play a bit more though, right? Then I think I'm just discarding the Thoughtseize here. Kroxa might be able to like snipe the last card out of the hand. Maybe chump blocking with the Channeler, we'll see. Okay, so I have a Drown the Loch on top. It's a pretty good card. I think I'm eating a Goblin Guide, blocking Goblin Guide. The only way that this deals more damage to Goblin Guide is if my opponent has exactly 2 Lightning Bolts. And if that's the case, you know, we're probably not winning anyways. Skewer the critics targeting the Shredder. That dude, Shredder is force of nature, huh? Maybe I should have played my Mire first. Ooh, you're Searing Blaze though. Okay. Try not to mess this up. I think I'm actually just gonna go Searing Blaze, the Swift Spear, get a basic Swamp, and hold up the Drown for the guide, but I'll let the guide trigger happen. Drown the Eidolon instead, I suppose. Down to 6 now. They've got 1 card in their hand. A Death Shadow on top, obviously. Just like always the best card to draw. And don't have a land for that. I think I'm just supposed to get their last card out of their hand with the Kroxa rather than holding up the Drown. Yeah, hit the Skullcrack. Play Shadow Channeler. Or should I hold this? Should I hold this for blue mana? Yeah, I should hold it for blue mana because I can just Drown and attack for lethal next turn. Islet. Sack Islet. Is there anything I lose to if I just Drown? Okay, well now Now we obviously just drown and we can't lose to anything. Because they have to chump block the shadow, and then we get to hit them with Ragavan even, but there's no top deck that can kill me from 6, and then they're under the abyss. They would have to have main deck Deflecting Palm, which, you know, good beats, right? Okay, up a game. Gonna bring in these Spell Pierces. I think Dress Down is important to be able to deal with Sanctifier and Vec. It also can kill a little bit faster with Shadow. Maybe I don't want the full 3. You actually can't suspend Rift Bolt if you hit it off Ragavan. Suspend is only from hand. I bought these from Goatbots, the old border Baubles. I wanted to buy the old border Ragavans. I didn't have enough tickets in my collection though, so I'll work my way up there. Yeah, definitely like a weird interaction. Ragavan and suspend cards. Yeah, the old border Baubles, old border Ragavans are Magic Online only promos, I believe. Like 99% sure. I kind of want to save this for Shredder, actually. I kind of want to get Steamvent's Basic Swamp here. So obviously, this line obviously doesn't play very well around an Eidolon, but that's okay. Is Forward Ocean too clunky versus Burn? You can trim an iteration. At the very least, like I kind of prefer the cards I trimmed instead. Okay, main freeze Boros Charm, it's fine. Shredding time. Just discard that. Lightning Bolt on top. Okay, good card to connive. 4 cards in their hand, one of them's a Lightning Bolt. What deck can I play to beat 4-color elementals? Tron, Titan, Belcher, Wilderness Reclamation, Jeskai, Lotus Field. I guess I should go tap Blood Crypt, hold up, drown this turn, next turn Inquisition drown. My opponent's drawing up to 3 cards, so it's pretty likely that I can get one of their spells with the Inquisition. Trent with the Twitch Prime, appreciate ya. Wait, how? What are we wait howing? Wait, how? Okay, I guess I should counter the Boros Charm. I guess let me connive first. Counter the Boros Charm instead of the Swift Spear, so that I can fetch. Yeah, they bolted us, not the Shredder. And then it's kind of close what we do next. I don't hate just going Escape Kroxa. You have one turn to top deck a burn spell or you lose. That being said, we have a drown in the hand, so it's kind of tempting to try to not do that. And yeah, actually drawing the Ragavan, I think it makes it pretty nice to just go Inquisition, take their last burn spell, fetch the basic mountain twice in one game. Not a super common occurrence. Probably discard the 2-mana spell at this point. Then attack for 4, block, counter the burn spell. And if they tap this, they go down to 11. Attack for 4, hit them for 3 with the Kroxa, which is exactly 11. Or potentially, I guess we can't really connive again. So this is assuming they draw like a 2-mana burn spell, this line. I guess 2-mana burn spell doesn't work because they just don't tap the Canyon, actually. They're gonna attack here, trade. We put our opponent down to 1 off the Kroxa. Best draw step is obviously drown in the Loch, but we've already used 2. Very classic. Top deck a burn spell or die opponent. Burn spell, or I guess Path to Exile would do it here as well. So I could play around Path to Exile by not attacking. But then they go block here, discard random card, and like potentially kill me next turn. So yeah, I will not play around Path by attacking. Magician of the 9 months, appreciate you. And Trent does thank you for the Twitch Prime. Thank you, thank you. That's true. We do beat the 3 mana burn spells by attacking too. Yeah, haste. Yeah, this doesn't lose to haste creature because this is only 1 power. Very close game. Very close game. The burn versus shadow matchup is just like such a beautiful dance. It is just like always such a treat. Why no main board dress down? We cut them for shredders. It's a combination of a few reasons why to do that, but the main reason is mana curve considerations. And it's also like, you know, true. Shredder is kind of good against everything. Dress down isn't, so it kind of, you know, makes some sense to have that be the cut for that reason. Kind of weird draw here, huh? Quadruple just down on the draw. I'm playing against burn yet again. But thinking that's be a good sideboard card. I mean, the thing about the blue-red decks, right, is like you're already favored against the green decks in Winota with Shredder, without Shredder, with Dig in the Ice, without Dig in the Ice. Like, it's just like the combination of like cheap threats plus, ooh, good draw. You know, cheap threats plus, I'm gonna not play Rebel Rush Tribe. Although I guess probably should play it on having to discard a card. Cheap threats plus flying creatures plus, or cheap birds plus flying creatures or Thing in the Ice is a good formula against mono green and Winota. And so like you could sideboard Thing in the Ice, but you could also just sideboard Aether Gust instead and have a more versatile sideboard card and like just still keep your matchups and I think improve your overall matchup spread. If that makes sense. Down to 12, no Boris Charm, thankfully. Opponent has 4 cards in their hand. It always feels bad to have to use your Drown as a removal spell instead of a counter spell in this matchup. But it also is what it is. You know, I was probably actually supposed to get a mountain first so I could play the Shadow this turn, but getting the Ragavan is not a bad consolation prize. They're at 8 life. They have a Skewer the Critics in their top of their library. I think that we are basically never going to win this game unless we draw a Drown at some point, but we may just be dead this turn anyways. Alright, know about the Skewer, we can just concede. I think they will see the line. I saw the line. My opponent was at 3 life. I saw the line. What did I cut last time? Was it the 4th Shredder? I think it was the 4th Shredder. Alright, I think I like this. Okay, I like this hand. I think I'm gonna put back the dress down and hope that my opponent is not on or doesn't have Sanctifier. I think I'm gonna go Steamvent Swamp here, so I can drown on turn 2. Why the dress downs? The dress downs are for Sanctifier and Vec. Yep, Ragavan, unchecked Ragavan is just super, super important in this matchup. Leave the Mire to fetch a mountain. They do have 2 Sanctifiers, but I can take 1, drown the other, thankfully. Pretty strong hand. They play their Sunbaked Canyon. I mean, they have to play the Sanctifier, despite them probably being able to sniff out the drown. Got a Ledger to shred. I think I'll just get my basic mountain, cast the bolt, connive. think it makes sense to discard the Watery Grave, not the Heat. Opponent's hand is currently Mountain, Boros Charm, Skewer the Critic's Mystery card. So I think there's a decent chance we see them skewer my Ragavan or my Shredder. Try to play a longer game. Down to 8. Then they can skewer a creature if they want. I guess, but it has to be Ragavan. Okay, they skewer me. Just put me down to 5. Yeah, I think I'm still putting back the Blood Crypt here. Dress Down's interesting. Just like beating a haste creature feels pretty relevant. No help from the Ragavan. I think I'll just cycle the Dress Down. It's obviously bad against top deck Sanctifier, but they've already used 2 Sanctifiers, so it's like just doesn't feel like that big a deal. Inquisition, amazing hit here. Maybe I should have tapped it a little differently. Don't think it's going to end up being too relevant. My opponent drew basic Mounted for turns. We're going to start off by sacking their Sunbaked Canyon. Yeah, or top deck Eidolon, yeah. And then thought there was a chance they might leave this back to block, but they're the burn player. No blocking here. Spell Pierce is a fine draw. Cast with Spear, pass. Another Swift Spear. Looking like we're probably going to be good. So maybe supposed to Jegantha last turn. Alright, the opponent's dead to a removal spell though. And dead to a Kroxa. Okay, going to game 3 and very tense matchup. I think seeing confirmation that my opponent is on Sanctifier, I want to bring in the 3rd copy of Dress Down. Probably just have to cut the 3rd Shredder on the draw. I do like Kroxa a lot in this matchup. I don't think I want to cut any Kroxas. I feel like I could write an entire, like, 5,000 word article on this matchup. And maybe I will. Maybe I will. Stereo, maybe you should have shown the Spell Pierce. I don't think I didn't cast the Spell Pierce, did I? How did I show the Spell Pierce? I think I'm supposed to keep this. This is kind of a closer hand though. Oh, I looted it away. I see. Yeah. Then probably not. Is cutter iteration ever correct? I'm open to cutting expressive iteration, but just like, you know, every other like sideboard suggestion, I would like to hear a suggestion for what you'd want me to cut in favor of, you know, in favor of the iterations. I think trimming 1 copy is pretty reasonable. So I guess it's like leaving a Shredder for an iteration possibly is correct. Yeah, I'm not sure. Okay, bolts me down to 11. So crack this down, play around Skewer. Three Shredder, 3 Iteration. Yeah, I think that's fine. I think that's fine. Yeah, you're good, Cranky. Yeah, you're good. I think I probably should have completed that dot because we just trimmed the Shredder, right? There's one thing I could do better on the stream is connect more dots. I think I graveyard this. It's kind of close. Hopefully they didn't find second land. There's second land. Hopefully they don't have Sanctifier. Okay, there's not Sanctifier, but Searing Blaze. They have 3 cards in their hand. I think I'm supposed to go for Kroxa, tapped, Watery Grave. My opponent would need to have their 3 cards exactly be untapped land, Boros Charm, 3 damage burn spell in order for me to die right now. To discard the Rift Bolt. Their hand is definitely at least 2 spells though, so... there's untapped lands. And Skewer the Critics is not quite Boros Charm Burn Spell. So this is an amazing draw, because now I can Bauble them, and if they have a Burn Spell on top, I need to leave up Pierce. If not, I can Kroxa. They do have the Burn Spell on top, so I can't Kroxa. So I think I have to Iteration. Yeah, I think we lose here, right? Because they might have 3 mana Burn Spell again as their other last card. That would actually make a decent amount of sense. But like knowing the Lava Spike, like obviously I can't leave up Spell Pierce, and they have another spell because they missed the land drop. Yeah. So if I left with Spell Pierce, I guess I'm not dead exactly that turn to that exact holding. Hold on. Well, no, I would have had to play untapped. I would have had to pay 2 life to play the untapped land for the Steam Vents. I mean, I don't know. Like, that line, I guess, technically wins against their exact hand, or technically doesn't lose against their exact hand, but I think it's, like, kind of madness to shock the untapped Steam Vents, especially when it's so obvious I have the Spell Pierce when I do play that untapped Steam Vents, right? I feel like you're just giving some hindsight bias with this like suggestion, but at the very least we can move on. I really don't like to like just argue with the same chatter about the line this long, this many times and this long after it's over. Like I think the Spell Pierce becomes like pretty easy for them to play around there. You advance and swap and play and tap to Mire for the turn, but it's cool. Advance and swamp and play and tap Mire for the turn. Well, then I don't have another basic land that I can fetch for Kroxa the following turn, right? I have to fetch Shock or Shock the next turn, right? Now it's starting to get foggy in my mind. Playing against a Yorion deck, Yorion against Shadow, it's a painful matchup for sure. Shocking Blood Crypt, Dashing Ragavan, Headburn Spell. I don't think I had the Ragavan in my hand when I saw the Lava Spike on top. But let's move on, let's move on, let's move on. Please, please, please. I'm in. I'm in. I will take my divination. Thank you very much. Unmulligan. They have the Rin and 6, but we can go Thoughtseize, Ragavan, Bolts. Guess we'll go Inquisition first now. Maybe Dash Ragavan. Seeing how exploitable their hand is, probably better to Bolt plus Ragavan. Obviously, if they draw a red card and like Fury, Ephemerate, it's like a little worse, but they have to draw exactly a red card. So their hand is Ephemerate, Fury, Mystery card. Probably gonna go Channel or Thoughtseize, Hold Up, Drown here. There's the red card. Yeah, I'll just take the Elodamar's Call now, and then... Because I want them to draw the Fury. It's just like so bad into my Drown. It's a pretty deep cut. Force suit. It's a pretty deep cut. Wait, did they shuffle and I missed it somehow? I thought they had Fury on top of their library, but they... Was this Besage already there? Guess they just didn't do it. Oh, I exiled its Ragavan. Duh. I don't know why I thought it was on top. Wait, this is still fine. Still feeling like I'm in good shape despite misreading the board state. I'm gonna hold the second iteration for now. If I don't have all the time says when you do me for build is an Archon package, it's like dual substitute. I've played the Archon package in the past. It's like fine, yeah, but It's also like not as good as I'd like it to be. So you would think if my opponent's mystery card was a red card, they would have already evoked it, but because we know they has Fury, 2 Ephemerates, and a mystery card, right? But if I'm somehow wrong, or they just like decided not to play around Drown the Loch, we do like just lose the game if they get to evoke a Fury Ephemerate. So, oh no, the mystery card was Yorion. They had already put Yorion in their hand. Okay, so we could have drowned that then, but I also may still be correct to not drown here, since like we could just like trade Ragavan for Reef and then replay Ragavan, hold up John for the Fury. It does feel like this game is just like make sure that Fury doesn't resolve or die. Oh, we exiled Cavern? It's pretty lucky. Okay, Heat's a very interesting draw here. So there is not a mystery card that they drew off the Reef, and now there's a Solitude on top. Second Kroxa wins here. Kroxa does not always deal damage. If your opponent discards a spell, it doesn't deal damage. Kroxa pales in comparison to his much stronger older brother. Okay, so my opponent's hand is going to be Mystery Card, Fury, Ephemerate, Solitude, Yorion. I feel like I should be able to drown, kill this, hold up Heat for the Ephemerates. Could also let this, you know, happen too. I guess my opponent could actually Solitude Ephemerate before I draw with Bauble, but how could they see that line? Yeah, it's just like so hard to do that before taking your draw step. Oh, Solitude was on top, right? Sorry, that's they need to draw it. Okay. Okay, so mystery card was Omnath. Their hand is currently Ephemerate, Yorion, Solitude. But we should be good here. Should be good because they're gonna Ephemerate. I'll Heat in response, and then they can either take 3 damage to the Channeler, or they can take 3 damage from the Kroxa. But they can't. They're gonna take 3 from one of these two because they could use their entire hand to assault pitch Solitude, and then the dash Ragavan should be a win. I've heard a lot of people that Expressive Iteration is the best card in Pioneer. Do I agree? What do I think is the best card in other formats? Iteration might be the best card in Pioneer. It's at least a conversation. I don't know that I necessarily agree that it's better than Dig Through Time / Cruise. I think it's close. And in a lot of ways, like Expressive Iteration kind of enables Dig Through Time and Cruise, because like you're going to Expressive Iteration in like the in the mid game, and then you get to Cruise in the late game, and it just kind of bridges the gap really well for you. Yeah, so I'm not sure. I mean, the best cards in Modern are like very easily fetch lands, though. Best cards in Modern very easily fetch lands. Less clear what best card in Pioneer are. Okay, up a game against Elementals. Elementals has been so popular lately. I think that like the Elementals pilots just like kind of decided it was good again, or I don't know. It's put up some finishes lately, but it is kind of funny after like there's just been like so much consensus that the like 4-color Omnath deck, like the more controlling versions, like better than Elementals, and then like Elementals top 8's won challenge, and people are like, all right, we're playing Elementals again. I actually don't want to cut both of these. Shredder, I think Shredders are really good in this matchup. I want to keep the Shredders. Could probably trim 1 Ragavan on the draw, and then like maybe 4th Drown. Is Jegantha free in the deck? Yeah, it's free. I don't. There's very few decks where like it's really like a super serious decision between Jegantha and other cards. Like in Anvil and Pioneer, like maybe you'd play some Meat Hook Massacres, but usually if it's like Jegantha versus like one very small card, it's very easily Jegantha. I haven't played the Vivian Pod deck. I've seen it in action a bunch. Been watching some other streamers play it. I think the deck is good. I think it is, you know, a 2-card combo that wins the game immediately and costs only 4 mana. Vivian and Planesbound Accomplice. Like, you know, that has the potential to be competitive. And I'm not sure exactly. Let's shred here. I'm not sure exactly like how I would build the deck, and I'm not sure if the best shell's been found. But I do believe in the archetype. I wrote a little highlight for Channel Fireball about the one that got 3rd in the recent challenge that was playing Karn and playing the Devoted Druid Luxior combo, so Karn could get Luxior for Devoted Druid, and it was also playing Urza Saga. I thought that version was pretty interesting looking. My opponent can't Omnath next turn, so I think I'm going to lead on Inquisition. They have double basic planes. Why do they have 2 planes in their deck? Okay, and then just pass back here. What do you think about 8 cast Affinity in Modern and why they're not playing Jegantha most of the time? If you could play Jegantha and all it costs you is your 15 sideboard slot, you should play Jegantha. Some players don't have this opinion. I believe that those players are wrong because my opinion is different than theirs. But I think Affinity is a good deck, especially like Affinity's kind of like Hammer Time's little brother though, where it's like. Affinity only gets to play when Hammer Time is done playing, because if there's a lot of hate cards for Hammer Time in the format, then nobody wants to. Affinity is not a good choice. But if Hammer Time's on the decline, there aren't a lot of artifact hate cards for Hammer Time, then Affinity gets to thrive. They do have the 5th land on top, so I guess I have to take the Yorion, unfortunately. What do you think of your list? Played this Friday, had a hard time, went 0-4. I like the old school Shadow list more. Well, the old school Shadow list is banned because it had Luris. I don't know. I mean, I like the deck. I've been winning a lot with it too. I don't know. I think the deck is good. I'd recommend it. I think I'm going to jam the Tourach here. I think I get Basic Swamp too, although it's close between this and Shocking. Isn't Hammer Time just a better deck then? I mean, it's really different, where like Hammer Time is like, assuming that the format doesn't have a lot of artifact hate. Ooh, good hits. They still have that mystery card, I guess. But assuming that the format does not have a lot of artifact hate, right? Affinity is way more resilient to creature-based removal than Affinity is, or than Hammer Time is, where you just like have a million draw twos and like you just don't care that much about having your creatures killed. And when you compare that to Hammer Time, obviously much more fragile to removal. Uh-oh. They got Fury here. I think it's pretty rare for one deck to be, you know, quote-unquote, just better than another deck. That does happen sometimes. Smith with the 10 months, thank you so much. Been living the Food Turns deck. Yeah, that deck's been really, really fun. I recorded a video for Channel Fireball with it last night. Okay, I think we are countering this. Could maybe be fine to kill Fury instead. Feel okay about countering. Kyoto, thank you for the 2-pack. I'm gonna block. Assuming that that's your deck tech, you can post it in the chat. Yeah, I saw Canister 5-0'd with it today. Yeah, what were the changes to the sideboard? This is a second Fury. It's a Bolt. So if I dress down here, the Shadow still dies end of turn. So I'll just let it go. I know the canister added Nature's Claim. I guess I should have been a little more specific. What did canister cut for the Nature's Claims? And he's off the Nature's Claims. Okay. He had a push main deck. I feel like I would want to play Bone Shards instead of push. Not blocking the Reef. Okay. Glad to get that off the top. Wanted to play white for like Prismatic Ending. Into Fairy. Yeah, seems reasonable. Okay, deck tech for Temur Scapeshift. Good old Temur Scapeshift. I would not, I think, be building the deck with Prismatic Omen. If I was going to build like Temur Scapeshift Control, I would be playing like 3 Wrenn and 6 and like being like a Temur control deck that's using Wrenn and 6 as a card advantage engine and an engine to allow you to win the game with Scapeshift down the line. I'm sure the question then becomes, what does that look like? It's probably something like the full 4 Temur Triumph, which you only have 1 copy of. Full 4 Temur Triumph, so you can support cards like Counterspell, Cryptic Command, play 4 copies of Growth Spiral. And I do actually kind of like Expressive Iteration. I'm not sure exactly how many copies I'd be wanting to play. I had 3 Ceremonious Rejection for Karn. I didn't play against many Karns. Deck needs removal for Nino. Yeah, I feel like I agree. Like I feel like most of my losses to with the blue black deck are to Needle. I don't know, but it's always like tough with these like artifact based synergy decks where it's like you're weak to Needle, you're weak to Karn, you're weak to Stony Silence, and then it's also like sometimes you just over sideboard for it, you overbuild, you know, overcorrect for it. That can be a big problem too. Finding that perfect balance is tough. Yeah, I think it would be off the wishes, off the Prismatic Omens to make room for 4 Counterspell. Off the Remand, 4 Counterspell. Off the Wishes, 3 Cryptic Commands. Off the Expressive Iterations for 3 Wrenn and 6s. I think you maybe don't want to play Sakura Tribe Elder. You can maybe play 2 Iteration over 2 Sakura Tribe Elder. That's kind of closer. Maybe more up to you. And then you have to adjust the mana base, probably cutting Cinderglade. Stomping Ground number 4. And Stomping Ground number 3 for the full 4 Katria Triumphs. Make the blue mana a bit easier. Isn't Wish what makes the deck viable nowadays? I'm not of the opinion that like traditional Temur Scapeshift is currently like super viable. Right? At the very least, I feel like this is the direction I would go. And I probably shouldn't have kept that on top because we know about the endurance actually. So I guess I'm kind of looking for Drown in the Loch, which I do find. Although it seems a bit better to go and bottom, exile, kill this. Assuming their last card's not Ephemerate. I think they would have probably Ephemerated in their instep. Attack for 3, play the Shadow. Wasn't Endurance exiled with Rag. I just saw that it was on top of their library. And I could dash the Ragavan, but if they block with the Reef, then the Endurance gets me pretty bad, was my thinking here. But my Shadow's just going to attack through the Endurance now. But they shuffled away, so it's a wash either way. Obviously, your sideboard opens up a lot. You get to play like 3 Veil of Summers, 3 Ancient Grudge, potentially some Alpine Moons, potentially some Flusterstorms for Cascade, potentially some Endurances. But yeah, I would be off the Wish here. You can also maybe play 4th Scapeshift too. Without the Wish, right? It's probably correct. Okay. Eldarmy's Call for Solitude. Gain some life, huh? What's the best creature in the deck? Jegantha. Jegantha is actually a 5/5. This is a XX. This is a 1/1, sometimes 3/3, 2/1. 1/3. It's 5/5. The biggest creature is also always the best creature. Do I take deck techs for Explorer? No. You're wasting your time if you give me deck tech for Explorer. Your time and your money. I don't really know what's going on over there. I also don't know that anybody knows what's going on over there, but I am definitely not someone who does know what's going on over there. So my opponent's top card is Triumph. I guess I will just try to heat the Solitude in the upkeep to play around Ephemerate. Okay, opponent. Omnath is always the card that can get you out of sticky situations, but they have to cycle Katria Triumphs. You would think of Omnath into fetch land that gains them effectively 7 life up to 12. Omnath is so messed up. Okay, it's a Fairy Time Raveler. I think they have no outs. Beating the Omnath deck feels good. This was a really hard league. Every match felt really competitive. We played against Murktide, lost to Hammer. Beat Burn, lost to Burn, beat Elementals. Every match really tough. I feel a bit bad, but I need to end the stream early today. I